Welcome back to Feast Fight Back. Today's video is just talking about managing full-time recovery alongside being at uni. I have been back at uni now for nearly a month. I am doing my final year of my psychology degree, and I have had a lot of questions about what it's been like going back, but also managing recovery at university. And you know, for me, I had to take a year out last year because I wasn't well. And so not only have I gone back to uni, but I've gone in my final year. And I've gone back full time, and it has not been straightforward. There have been things that I found easier than I thought I would, and there have been a lot of unexpected difficult things. But I've had quite a few messages asking me, is it possible to go back to uni when you're in recovery? And it's a really difficult question, actually, because yes, it is possible, but there has to be an awareness that it is not going to be simple. So I'm going to talk through my experience of the last few weeks, and actually my experience when I did my first and second year, because I was in recovery then too. In my first and second year, I guess I'd had a bit more time from when I had been discharged from hospital. I'd been out of hospital for a bit longer. I was in a bit more of a stable place. Whereas this time I went downhill very quickly last year, and then I spent quite a few months really struggling, and then I managed to really make a lot of changes, but those have all been quite recent, or in the last few months. And actually, even a couple of months ago, we didn't think I was going to get back to uni this year. So what's it been like going back to uni while still managing recovery? It has taken a long time, a lot of consistency and support to be able to manage my meals and my food and my meal plan and my everything involved in my care. So sort of how much I'm moving, how I'm balancing my mental health. It's taken an awful long time to establish that at home. And we always knew that going back to uni would be a case of transferring that. But it's not as simple as you do this at home, so just do it in a different environment. I wish it was that simple, but it's not. And it is something that I am managing, but I'm finding quite challenging. So, for example, a couple of days ago, at the moment what we're doing is video calling my snacks. So I video call my mum, my dad, whilst I'm having my snack, and that helps, you know, it's that accountability. They know what snack I'm supposed to be having. I'm having the correct snack. I'm managing to have it, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think right now, I think that is a step that we are on, and it's guided us through the last sort of 4 weeks. And I think this is where maybe it is more difficult, or maybe people that aren't in recovery, I think it was something that my nurse highlighted to me the other week. I went in for my appointment and I broke down in floods of tears, because I am exhausted. There's uni work and everything like that, and being present in the lectures and seminars, holding my focus. But at the same time, I have to stay on top of my recovery. I have to make sure everything is going well. And my nurse reminds me that that is the most important thing. So whilst I'm sat in a lecture or a seminar, I am always thinking, where am I going to go and have my snack? Where am I going to be able to video call my mum? Where am I going to be able to find somewhere quiet? And there's this whole added layer of complication that I need to keep doing these things while still trying to engage in uni. I need to have enough time to do them, but more than anything, I need to prioritize them. And that's something that I found really difficult in the first week. I went back and it's busy and there's things to do, and sometimes there's not enough time. And my nurse very rightly pointed out, this has to be the number one priority. Certainly for me, my experience of the illness is things spiral very, very quickly based on very small lapses. So if I don't quite manage everything one day, that will have an impact for me. And that can have a disastrous impact, quite frankly, it can. So I was really upset in this appointment because I was like, I'm so tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. Like, I should just be able to just be slotting into, like, why is it so difficult? And he was like, because you are full-time in recovery and you are full-time uni student. And it was like, it was only when he sort of started speaking me through actually what I'm doing and what I'm going through, which I know what I'm going through, but it's sometimes, because that is just, well, I need to do these things, hadn't stopped to appreciate that it is difficult. And that above all, recovery has to be my number one priority. So yeah, recovery is possible at uni. It is. But I think there needs to be I think if you're thinking about going back to uni and you're in recovery, you really need to make sure that you've got that structure set up. I couldn't have gone back if I hadn't practiced so much my structure before. I needed to have that so solid so that when I made that transition into a different place, having different timings for things, because I can't control when we're breaking in a lecture. Things like managing my blood sugar levels. Again, holding my concentration, which, I mean, last year my concentration was non-existent, and I feel like I've kind of gone from sort of 10 miles an hour to 1,000 miles an hour, and it is difficult. Also, going through recovery whilst trying to do a degree, both require an awful lot of energy. At the moment, I am working through things in my mental health, and they are difficult. They are things that I didn't have the energy to think about last year, and I kind of thought I was over it. But I wasn't over it. I just didn't have the energy to think about them last year. You know, those things are still there. And it's really hard to find a balance. I need to process those things. I need to talk about those things. And that's difficult. That takes sort of, I have my appointment day, and it can take a whole day out of me. If I have a bad day, it can wipe out the whole day. If I have a panic attack, it will wipe out hours, and it will take so much energy from me. And I have been really struggling with my panics again at the moment. And that's difficult, that energy balance. I've had questions, because I'm doing a psychology degree, about, like, do I find it triggering? Oh, the word triggering for me is probably the most overused word. no. I've always said I don't really get triggered by other people. I get triggered by things in my own head, but I'm not really affected by other people. That's never really been something that I struggle with. So no, I don't find it triggering. I find it really interesting and I love it. Do I find it difficult? Like hearing about some things, are they a bit close to home? Yeah, it makes you think. But no, I am very much someone who, yeah, if something upsets me, it's because it's something that's in my own head. I'm not particularly affected by other people. So recovery in uni, yes, it's possible. It is not easy. You need to be able to be consistent. You need to be strict with yourself. And you need to give recovery that number one spot. Something that I do find difficult is the social side of things. You know, I now know that I'm autistic, and looking back at school for me, I can see that so many of the problems that I had were the fact that, well, I was autistic and I was struggling with autism related things at school. And actually when I was at school, I ended up being taken out of school and studied from home. I'm gonna add on a bit about autism in uni into a different video because I'm very tired. But yeah, uni and recovery so far, it's going okay. It's going okay. It's never going to be easy, but I'm learning to just take it hour by hour. Learning that the fundamentals are still the most important thing. Learning to ask for help sometimes. Most of all, yeah, just taking it hour by hour. And we'll see where we go from here. And I wanted to finish this video on this quote, which I was introduced to in my first year of uni, and I absolutely love it. I think it is so important, and I think especially thinking about managing full-time recovery and university, it is that thing you need to prioritise your health. But yeah, this was just a one-off video where I really wanted to address that question, but back to my normal videos, and there is another one coming out soon.